listening to The Bradshaw Boys, a podcast where three relatively grown men binge the iconic HBO series Sex and the City. So dust off those DVDs and grab yourself a white wine or even a Cosmopolitan and settle in. Take it away, boys.
Welcome to The Bradshaw Boys, a podcast where three guys watch their way through Sex and the City for the first time ever, mostly. I'm Cory Cavin.
I am Kevin James Doyle.
I am Jon Sieber. I drank some giggle juice.
You did drink some giggle juice.
I'm laughing. I'm chuckling it up over here.
We had some funnies before we got into that. I think one of us burped into the microphone. I think it was me.
You. It was you.
Me.
Yeah.
We talked a couple episodes ago about one of us, I think it was me or Kevin, burped into a microphone.
You burped into the microphone.
And you were talking about how bad it smelled. And I realized...
It just sounds so gross with these headphones on.
It does.
But
the other night I burped by accident. And then my girlfriend showed up at the thing that we were at a friend was speaking at something, and I turned and just wafted like a burp into her face. I felt so bad. I'm a terrible burp smeller. Why am I talking about this on a national podcast?
I have no idea.
It's an international podcast.
Yeah, I have no idea.
We have listeners all over the world that just heard about what I did.
I think. Sorry,
that sounded really proud.
That this part of the podcast so far gets one carbonated Cosmo.
Can we talk about how great Kevin looks? Kevin's been strict diet.
It's true. Your shirt's baggy.
Man,
what's the diet you've been on?
Slow carb diet.
Thank you,
Tim Ferriss.
Thank you, Tim Ferriss. The 4-hour work week. Most people work 40. What if you laid in a hammock on a beach and worked 4 hours a week? Here's what it means to be part of the new rich. I'm Tim Ferriss.
He has a very popular pod, but it's basically avoid sugar. Yeah. I mean, that's like the only thing. And then I've just been running more.
You look great.
It's because in January I'm filming my stand-up show that I've been doing for the past year. Cory's directing it.
I am directing it.
And
I'm attending.
I was like, it's going to be great. I'm excited about it. And I was like, I don't want in 3 years, even like the week after, to just be like, oh yeah, you were bloated, Kevin. So it's part of the vanity is keeping me in, but also the fear of like holiday eats.
That's true. I think one thing that shows a great thing about being on camera is that you need to look better and lose weight. And when you're behind the camera, like I just spent a bunch of time eating Grippo's chips and sour Skittles. And I'm going to be fat.
And the whole time I'm like doing it, everyone's like, man, the show is great. It's filmed really well. Who's that guy burping in the background the whole time? The whole theater smell.
The theater stinks
You're
like
out
gross
of breath,
burp.
just shaking the camera with every single one of your burps.
This is what I'll say. Just like when because lately, like you'll see like little changes in your body when you lose a few pounds, and you're like proud of yourself. But then I look at like Kim Cattrall, or like the last episode where she like was rocking a 6-pack. You're like, I can't even fucking imagine.
Well,
what level you're doing to have that?
I just looked over at Jon, and
he's got
the listeners out there. Jon has a trucker hat on top of his headphones.
Why not, man?
You know what I'm going to do?
Why not?
I'm going to take a picture of you, and we will tweet or gram this at some point when my phone decides to actually take a picture.
What were you going to say, Cory?
I was going to say that you were talking about that. I think it's incredibly commendable of the shape that all of the actresses on the show are in. I'll say this, Willie Garson, I think he was in his 30s. He's like trim and slim when he takes his shirt off. He doesn't have a 6-pack, but he looks better than I do.
He wasn't doing as much as the girls were doing.
That is true. I will not put him on that level, but his character, he's a softer man, like in the sense of like he's a little doughy. I mean, he was kind of doughy.
I think
treading into deep waters here. I've got more dad bod than he does.
I mean, it's just like...
I also have 6 kids. I got 6 kids. I got to get them to school every day.
You got mouths to feed, man.
I got mouths to feed. It's all I can do to get to Dunkin' Donuts.
Anybody that listens to this is clearly like, we know you don't have kids. You wouldn't be recording, wasting your life away recording this podcast if you had kids.
That's true.
But no,
enough about the weight. I want to get to. We've had some social media check-ins that we need to get through.
So
we should also introduce our guests for tonight. We've been talking over them the whole time.
Hi.
It is me.
It's
great to have you here. Introduce yourself.
I played Igor in Frankenstein.
And is it Edward G. Robinson?
It's Edward G. Robinson. What's your
Is it really?
What's your I don't know.
Edward,
Look up Edward G. Robinson.
how'd you first start watching Sex and the City?
Well, I needed to watch something when I was on set. And also, I had a crick in my back.
Okay. So, first of all, let me do the first social thing.
Do the first social thing.
I'm putting this hat back on.
Put your
I posted about last episode with Alanis Morissette and Sarah Jessica Parker.
That was
the
2
kissing thing I
episodes
put on Instagram. Two ago.
Episodes.
And Elizabeth Cook for Sheriff just said, guys, quit dangling.
Oh.
Elizabeth Cook for Sheriff, our guest, Elizabeth Cook, a couple episodes ago. She hates that she calls Steve such a dangler.
Yeah.
Because he wears basketball shorts with boxers.
And always carries the basketball, which last episode, Steve was going for the $1 million shot at Madison Square.
That was the most dangling episode
He was dangling
ever.
for dough right there.
Okay, also Morgan Olympia.
Dangler.
Shout out to Morgan Olympia. Morgan specifically, throw a 5-star review and a rating up there. Why not? I mean, we're shouting you out. Shout us out. I'm just kidding. No, she says, please bring back Ank, our favorite character.
So we got to address Ank. We brought in Ank like 2 episodes ago.
2 episodes ago, but she said bring back Ank for season 4. Episode 9. So I wonder if they go down south or something in that.
I could get on board bringing Ank back for a specific episode.
What would that be?
Season 4, episode 9. I'm down.
Well, I'll say
Return
this.
of the Ank. Return of the Ank.
First of all, this is a little.
Oh my God!
Is he back? What?
No, he's not.
How's Ank's name spelled?
I think
it's AINK.
No,
because you said think pink with an A.
No, it's -ANK. It's not dash, like apostrophe ANK.
Okay, Ank. Those names like Hank, but you take off the H.
Yep,
Ank.
Ank.
But I mean,
I always thought it was like AINCK. Ank.
He'd be like German or something like that. We got a tweet from Kate Atkins. It's at KAAIIIT. She said, "Okay, at Bradshaw Boys, I know we are supposed to hate Ank." Which I'll pause real quick. No one ever told you to hate him. You're not supposed to, except for John.
Go ahead. Hate Ank. Hate away.
She says, okay, I know I'm supposed to hate Ank or whatever, but A, I love him, and B, he totally belongs with Samantha and kind of reminds me of some of her flings.
Oh, man. I feel like
I want to bring him back.
I feel like Ank would be. Can you just imagine? Like the next day he wakes up next to her, he's just like.
He'd crush some dessert at Fusion, that's for sure.
He would. He would take her out.
Love that okra.
Oh yeah.
I'm avoiding getting because it'll just we gotta save him. But I'm just glad that people responded to him in any way, shape, or form.
Yeah.
Also, we fucked up really bad.
Was that like someone just going?
Someone just threw something away on a Mac trash. I think Jeremy, our producer, if you heard that, he just trashed something on the Mac.
I
think he was throwing Ank the character in the trash.
Ank and just slid Ank in the
he put Ank in the trash. You can't keep me in there. Anyway.
That was like we looked at each other and was like, it was so funny.
Yeah, we did.
We fucked up because Liz DeRuin, she's written in before. Huge fan. Thank you. We're a huge fan of you, is what we're saying. And we were supposed to ask Jim Miller a question.
What was the question?
Who was the most like their character and who was the least like their character?
Man.
Here's what we'll do. Here's what we'll do. And we can't promise you that we'll get an answer. But we will send that question to Jim. And
we'll send it to Jim.
We'll send it to Jim. And if Jim answers, we will get you that back. If he doesn't, we won't get it back to you, but we will try. And thank you for sending that in. We're sorry.
And if we can't get it back to you, we'll make something up.
We'll make something up.
Yeah, we'll just make it up. Corey will burp an answer.
I just burped as John was saying that. Also, it's still on the table. Like we said a couple episodes ago, you send us your address. I'll send you a postcard. We'll do that.
Boom.
And a couple episodes ago, we asked on Twitter, what are your favorite season 3 episodes? And people have just been like, buckle up for season 3.
Yeah.
And
I'm buckled.
Buckle up more.
That last episode got one of the highest rated. It got an average of like 4.9.
What did you give it? I gave it a 4.75.
Kevin gave it a 5.
Kevin gave it a 5.
I gave it a 4.75.
And then Jim Miller gave it a 4.75, but out of the whole series, he gave it a 5. So that I feel like we're in new territory now.
Well, what that one tweet say? Because one said from here on through the rest of season 3 is like bonkers.
Yeah.
It's I forget who said it, but someone said
Julia Bartz at Julia Bartz, a new listener, but she said, I hope they can bring some guests who can speak specifically to the feminist aspects of the show. Get ready, we got some people coming up. But she said, as the power dynamics in season 3 get pretty crazy, and we've had a lot of other people say, yeah, the rest of season 3 is just nuts.
Man, I wonder if just get me. I mean, I guess we're gonna watch.
Oh, Ruth Rivera Howe and Random Ruthiness, who's tweeted at us before. She said episode 6 through 12, the whole set. Buckle up for the roller coaster. She told Kevin to buckle up.
So we're watching episode 6 today.
Yeah,
we are.
So that'll be like the
and get ready because
part of the roller coaster where you're going up cranking it up.
Here's our next 6 guests: Margaret Sanger, Gloria Steinem, Ruth Bader Ginsburg.
All these people.
It's gonna be. I mean, if you have a specific, we'll do some research and find like I don't know what style of feminist we want, but we'll do some research. We'll get someone who's really.
I want a Cajun feminist. You asked me what kind of style. I want a Cajun feminist.
Oh man.
Oh my God. Oh, these gators come up in here, and oh man, these gators. See, the thing about a gator is
so much of a better character than Ank already. Cajun feminist.
If it's a female gator, it should be able to get paid the same as a male gator.
think it's female gators. They didn't have the right to vote till later, and so that's why the swamps are so full of male gators.
I can't do it, gator.
But they still got damn teeth.
Oh, they got it. The thing is, the female. See, the animal kingdom, the women are actually more powerful. The men are more docile.
Why are you looking at me like that?
I think because you hate all the characters.
I love the characters. I love them.
I know you love it, John.
All right, so
Cajun feminist.
But we'll do some research and find a good feminist, few feminist guests.
We'll find a good few feminist guests. Well,
one of them will be Cajun. One of them.
No, I do feel like we will find Cajun feminists, but yeah, I think that we've talked about this on the show. We're 3 dudes watching the show, and we need that angle.
Yeah.
We will definitely find someone to inform us.
Will you put up a Craigslist ad for a Cajun feminist?
100%. I'll do it tonight. Someone also at Jumbatronic tweeted at us, and he said, "Oh man, you guys thought the penile implant scene was heavy? Just you wait."
Holy mac! What's that even mean?
I don't know. It's a heavy tweet. Thank you, at Jumbatronic.
I can't wait.
John, did you eat any Grippo's chips tonight?
Yeah, I did.
At Knee Neighbor on Instagram, at Knee Neighbor, thank you for the Grippo's chips that you sent to Jeremy, our producer.
We've been crushing them.
We crushed them tonight.
Also, we went and saw One Woman Sex in the City.
We did.
It was It's only around till through the rest of the year, through January 6th.
I think. I'm not sure.
If it gets extended, keep your eye on it.
Carrie is hilarious.
She was our guest, and it's just like, it's unbelievable. It's so good. So if it's still open, you guys, you have to go.
Do it.
Here's the thing. Come to New York. Go see One Woman Sex in the City. It's at One Woman SATC. That's their Twitter. Go see the show. Go to Magnolia. Eat a cupcake. Go to Long Island Bar in Brooklyn on Atlantic Avenue and get you a Cosmopolitan, because the owner of that bar invented the Cosmo. That's true.
Go to the Fireman's Ball in Staten Island.
Go to the Fireman's Ball in Staten Island. Meet a fireman who is a great fireman. He's a little dumb.
It's a little slow.
A little slow.
And gotta say, just straight up, thank you for such a wonderful time, Strawberry Daiquiri.
Thank you very much, Strawberry Daiquiri, for winning the contest and being a great companion to the show.
Well, let's get on that roller coaster.
Let's hop on.
John, does your mom still listen to all the episodes?
Yeah. If the dog needs to be walked, podcast got to be listened to. That's the saying in our household.
If did she let you know anything about like last time when you kept on talking about how I show my mom my dick, even though that's not a thing?
You've showed her your dick too. It's weird. She's
You showed that.
I was running listening to that, and I was just like laughing at you making fun of me. I was also like, what is this,
That
bro?
was really funny. I was listening to that too. Isn't it
So
funny how
I
we
just
listen to her own podcast.
I thought maybe your mom.
No, she hasn't said anything, but she might be behind. I don't know.
All right, check in.
I'll check in with her.
Hey, no, don't check in with her. Hey, Sandy, are you listening? Send us a signal. All right, let's go watch an
So
episode.
let's go watch an episode. Hey, I just want to. I did just get one tweet I want to read, and it says, "Hey, you know what I think about a." You know, a beignet, I think we should call him a Genier. That'd be a female donut because a beignet is a man's name, but a Genier. Come on down to Atchafalaya. You coming down to Atchafalaya Basin? I'll make you a muffaletta. All right, that was Cajun Feminist.
Episode 36. Are we sluts? Carrie wants to sleep with Aidan, but he's reluctant to rush into a physical relationship. Miranda discovers she has chlamydia and has to inform her sexual partners from the past. Charlotte's new boyfriend calls her names during sex. And Samantha's neighbors disapprove of her sex life after a late-night visitor lets in a burglar. And now, back to the boys.
All right, so we're back. We just watched an ep. And gotta say, happy to be talking once again about our favorite subject, New York real estate.
Yeah.
That's true. There were some New York real estate things in there. Samantha moved apartments.
You want me to do the rundown, John?
Run it down, baby.
I'd love for you to run that down.
I'm feeling comfy.
Run it down.
Come on, Kev boy, let me run it down. Come on, Kev boy, come on, run it down. Take it. Run it
Come
down,
on now,
Kevin.
boy, run it down.
Okay.
Here we go.
So, Samantha has been having a little too much fun with the guys because she buzzed in a friend at 2 a.m.
Yep.
And to have sexual relations with him, and a robber criminal walked in behind him unbeknownst and assaulted one of the ladies in his building.
She couldn't shut her left eye.
Yeah,
she can't. And so everyone in the building is pissed off at Samantha, so she is thinking about moving, and she moves down into the meatpacking district.
That's the end of the episode. She moves it, but they shame her the whole time.
Yeah. And then
not at the meatpacking district. Very acceptable.
Very welcoming.
Very
Super
welcoming.
into it.
Charlotte really likes this guy, but every time he comes, he says, "You fucking slut. You fucking whore.
Bitch. You fucking whore.
Bitch. You fucking whore."
That's it.
Doesn't remember it. Selective amnesia.
Yeah. And then he ends up at the end of the episode breaking up with her because he just can't handle himself, and he goes to therapy.
Yeah. And he
Charlotte,
Charlotte.
Miranda, she and Steve are just having their classic little issues right now, working things out. But Miranda finds out she
not roll your eyes at Steve.
I didn't. I was rolling my eyes at their goofy little relationship.
Steve is part of that relationship.
So
I don't want any contempt from you.
She has chlamydia, so she calls, makes a list of all of her partners, and goes down the whole list, and then makes Steve get tested, and then Steve finds out that he doesn't have it, but he has tons of partners, and her number was the great Jackie Robinson of fuck numbers, 42, and then capping it off is Carrie and Aidan. She really wants to S him, but he wants to wait because
it's S him.
Sex him. She wants to sex him.
Okay.
And so she's trying to figure out whether she's in the friend zone or not. That keeps on waiting, and then finally they go see some blues. And then he comes home and he says, "I want to fuck you." And he makes her a bath. Waits a few more days. And then he has sex. They wake up the next day, and then the entire episode is about, are they sluts?
That's true.
and it was written and directed by. It was based on a book by Candace Bushnell. It was directed. No, so that was the episode. It was pretty good. It's a pretty good one.
Pretty good.
Let's go home.
So what should we talk about first?
Well, let's see.
Are they sluts?
Well, when Miranda...
By historical standards, yes.
Sure.
But mores are changing. Maybe this show helped change a lot of that.
Well, I think the show did. I mean, that's part of the reason we're doing this podcast, is that the show did change some of the mores. Are you chewing gum loudly in the mic?
Crushing gum.
Yeah, you got to not crush that gum.
You're like Burt Macklin.
Listen,
Burp Macklin?
I'm Burp Macklin. Have you ever listened to Howard Stern? Have you ever heard him?
Is he chew gum?
Is he a radio guy?
He's a radio guy, and there's one episode where he goes, "You know what the secret of my success is? I never chew gum. Robin, get out the butt bongos." That's what he says. That's what he says. He does not chew gum.
I don't think they are, but I was wondering, I was like, I wonder if their numbers, because think about how influential television is, just like in general as a thing.
Yeah.
And then you're like, I wonder, because you know how they're doing these tests now or studies that people are having less sex than ever before?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And you wonder, you're like, all we know about how many people have sex with or how many you've had sex with, it's like your own number and like the 10 people around you and then the few famous people. But then I was like, I wonder if you get down to brass taxes, if what people's numbers are.
You hold on. Keep going, but we got to
Okay, yeah. Do the side thing. This is actually interesting, which is like
brass taxes.
Brass taxes. What is brass taxes?
You don't know what that is? That's a saying. That's like when you get down to just like the thing, the brass taxes.
You know it's brass tax.
Well, this is multiple people, so I'm talking about multiple taxes.
That'd be brass tax. The plural of tax is tax. Brass taxes would be like, hey, my taxes,
no.
I make so much money, I make it in brass. The brass taxes.
First of all, you don't know what I was saying. I'm saying the biggest state in the union. Let's get down to the brass taxes.
There we go.
Okay, the brass tax.
Thank you.
Is
brass tax is sure.
The brass tax is this: that what if there's all these numbers of what is a lot and what is a little of how many people have sex with, and it's always off. Like no one. I just want to see the scientific numbers. Like if 42 is, how are you not chiming in? Does this not make sense?
I'm waiting for you to get to your point.
I'm trying
to follow your point.
Did you want this to be a documentary where they just go over how many people?
No, I wonder how influential this show is on how many people expect to have sex with. If you're someone that's like,
okay,
oh, that's like, oh, and I wonder how they came at their numbers.
Well, that guy came at his number by calling her a fucking bitch, a fucking whore.
Yeah,
and he came. That's what he said. You're wondering. Okay, so you're wondering how they came at the numbers for the.
I'm wondering how much is they're talking about what the normal is. This too many or whatever,
right?
And I wonder what it's like to watch TV and then all of a sudden be like, oh, I guess people in New York. Women in New York have sex with like about 40 people. Well, if you're like somewhere else and you're like, oh, I guess that's what New York is like. And then you get here and you're like, what? No one has time to have sex. You know what I mean? Like that. I wonder if people think that you're going to have more, if a show like this makes you think like people have sex in New York way more than they do, or if we actually do.
I think this show,
expectations versus reality. I believe it's another Sex and the City episode.
It probably. I mean, I think the show is, when it came out 20 years ago, they said that all the stories had to come from experiences the writers actually had. Mm-hmm. So I bet there had to be some writer that was like, I went over my number with one of my partners and we talked about that and people's numbers are up there. I do think that what you're saying, because of the internet and stuff, there have been studies that are like, people are having less sex because they're looking at pornography, or people are more disconnected now because of that. But I think back then, I mean, there's a key moment where Steve does his number and Miranda's like,
Steve won't give his number.
He wouldn't give his number, but he was like 30, and then Miranda was like 60, and he was like higher, and he's like, what? I'm a bartender. I'm a bartender. And I'm cute.
Yeah.
But then Miranda, they were like, and that right there, I don't remember the actual line, but it was like, she was like, by the way, when men say that, they're not sluts. And I think that was the point, was that like no matter how high people's numbers are, they're like, well, Miranda counted out 42 people. That's a ton. And it's like, but Steve got out 60 people and no one's judging him.
Right.
Yeah.
So that's
it's
where
the double standard.
It's the double standard.
Yeah, totally. I just wonder in general, I'm like, man, I just wonder, like, I guess, I wonder, it would be so interesting to know, and that's probably one of those things that you can't necessarily ever do a perfect study on because people will lie about it.
Mm-hmm.
But it's like, I wonder if
you can never cut down to the gold taxes with
gold tax.
It's always brass tax.
It's always brass tax.
It's always your third place numbers of who you had sex with.
But that's what I was thinking during it. I was like, 42 people. I wonder what if you started. First of all, I don't have a list. I don't have a number.
You don't have the names of all 42 people that you've slept with.
I haven't known any other names.
Yeah, see that I respect. That I respect that you're just like, this is purely physical. It has nothing to do with our personalities
or even remembering who each other are.
The lights are out. I don't know.
Short transaction.
I don't know what anyone looks like.
Yeah.
I also this is another Charlotte thing that I was like not totally sure that she seemed this. I liked this thing for her, but I was like, she just got prude out of nowhere. I know she said it as a joke, but it's like. Last week she said big black cock, and this week she's like, I can't even say it. I guess it's because he called her a whore.
Well, and I think the other thing is that it was a good Charlotte moment because that guy yelled out,
what fast times, the lifestyles of the rich and famous.
What?
That's a good Charlotte moment. Lifestyles of the rich and famous.
That is a good Charlotte moment.
They're always complaining.
Oh, I caught that reference.
She's a bitch and she's a whore.
I do feel like you're giving them a proper British accent. It's more like lifestyles of the rich and famous, but you're like lifestyles of the rich and famous.
I feel like a little more nasally.
You gotta be a little more nasally.
Yeah,
go a little more nasally, Kevin.
Yeah,
do more nasally.
Go ahead.
Do it.
You guys wouldn't even have that reference if I hadn't.
Well, yeah, but we improved it. So you need
chew your gum on your ivory tower and not give us
your gum out.
Yeah,
I'm not going to.
And why not? Because you don't live to the stern standard.
Hey, what's up? It's me, Kev.
I've heard people talk about
bongos.
People have talked about the mouth noises on this podcast, and I think it's coming
Tell
from
them to fucking text me.
Okay, I'm going to give out your phone number right now on this podcast.
Don't
do it.
I will.
Do it.
You're so brave. Do you guys want to text Kevin? Say yes. And if you say yes,
don't give my phone number.
Here we go.
We're actually not gonna get any texts.
Okay, so Kevin's phone number is. Okay, I'm just gonna give it the Bradshaw voice number.
Ha! You didn't have the balls to do it, and you're a good friend.
330-263. That's all I'll do. That's all I'll do because you're my friend.
If you listen, 330-26. If you can, you guys take it from there, and you can text me.
That was Barb's number, actually.
Oh, I took the gum out. Thank you.
Gum out. There you go. You just got to give away a third of someone's number.
Fake gum. All right. Are we sluts?
No, the Good Charlotte moment, not the band, which is amazing. Also, one of the members of Good Charlotte is married to Cameron Diaz.
Really?
Benji Madden is married to Cameron Diaz. I think it's Benji.
Has she heard their music?
I don't think he's let her. We
got to get him on the podcast. Ask him about that.
Him on here.
He's like, yeah, I actually heard. First of all, you were chewing gum. Second, you roasted me in my music. Fuck you.
You wouldn't even do it a proper impression with the nasally thing going on.
I'm not from England. Okay, good Charlotte moment.
He's congested.
Good Charlotte moment was her saying, wait, are we sluts? No one wants to marry a slut. No one wants to marry a fucking whore. Mm-hmm. And I think that was like back to her true character where when that guy said that to her, it made her worried enough where she's like, I've had sex with all these guys. Nobody wants to marry someone like that because that's her objective. People are always like, what does your character want? She wants to end up happily ever after and get married. And so the theme of this episode, that's where that hit her. Samantha, she was like,
it's a good Charlotte moment.
Don't you love when you're talking to Kevin and he's not listening to a word you say? He's just priming up good Charlotte.
Wait, do you mean every time you talk to Kevin about anything? I really actually do hope that this is the moment that gets our podcast pulled down off of iTunes because we don't have the rights to this music.
Yeah, Kevin. Or was that a sample?
It was a sample.
All right. We could play it.
Okay, so
Kevin, can you summarize what Cory was just saying?
Yeah, summarize what I was saying.
I was looking up good Charlotte on Spotify, so I don't know.
So it was good, Charlotte. So we don't have the rights to it. Listen, if this is the last Bradshaw Boys episode, I just want to say it's been a really good run. It's been a great run. Shout out to Big Red.
Cory, I hear what you were saying.
Thank you, John.
It's Charlotte's deepest fear to be a slut because she wants to get married. That's what her character wants.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Okay. That was a good point.
Yeah. So, okay. Let's look at the Samantha arc for this episode.
Yeah.
So Samantha...
So what I find interesting is Samantha, when Samantha was talking to Charlotte, she said, like, if you're a slut, what does that make you? Like, she generally doesn't care about what anyone thinks of her. Yet, when it was close to her home, and she started to get worried about that. She was worried about what her neighbors thought, what the elevator doorman thought, or elevator assistant thought.
It's always interesting to see Samantha actually care about that stuff.
Well, that was a unique and interesting way to have her be in her head. Yeah. Like to get her insecure and be like, because when you're writing a confident character like that, you're all of a sudden you're boxed in by being like, what should she be insecure about, and have it like play true. And I thought that played totally true to her character. So I thought that part, I really liked that. And I'm glad she's moving out, because it's like, why would you want to live with all those oldies?
Yeah. I feel like I do think it was interesting that she just in general, we've talked about our other
Just in General now. But what about Just in General?
Okay. Well, a few things. One is that I think a lot of people have told us that we're moving into new territory with this show. And I did think about this in the middle of that episode. I do feel like we're in a new territory. There's something about the way the episodes are going now. Maybe it's Aidan. It just feels like some of the writing and some of the tone is kicked into a different thing. And even at the end, when Samantha was like in the meatpacking district, there's just kind of there's like a liberation over everyone. Like there was just kind of a thing where it was just like, she was like, I'm not going to stay here. And then she like moves downtown, which for her 20 years ago in New York, I'm sure moving out of the meatpacking district for someone who's like used to living in a fancy Upper East Side building was like, this is like a big crazy move.
She got chased out like Fuckenstein.
She did.
That was a good line.
Yeah, she did. Although really, she would have been Fuckenstein's monster. Fuckenstein's monster.
Yeah, exactly.
Wait, when did I do the Frankenstein voice?
What are you talking
Igor
about?
from Frankenstein.
Oh, before this.
That's crazy.
That's true.
That was Fuckenstein's. Hell, I am Igor, Dr. Fuckenstein. Dude, that's kind of ironic, isn't it? Don't you think?
Don't you think?
That is crazy.
That's like rain on your birthday. Rain on your wedding day.
That's so
funny. Rain on your birthday kind of sucks.
Yeah. No, I think that you're right, and I think it's that thing that our previous guest, Jim Miller, said. Is there a show has to like switch it up? And I feel like so many times, like now they have the rhythm of everyone, they know them and they're where they should go, whereas they didn't for a while. And I feel like now they're just ready to fucking jack it up to the next level, because you can just tell they know. They probably ran through all of those jokes and storylines that the first 2 seasons were like, we have to do those, and then they did them. It's like, what do we do? And now it's like, okay, who are these people? So it is kind of cool to like they're starting to get into the groove.
I feel like they're like finding their stride pretty hard now, and you got Miranda and Steve having their little conflicts. You got Charlotte standing up to people saying like, I just don't want you to say that anymore. I think that means at some point soon, Charlotte's going to find a dude. I feel like she's like zeroing in a little more.
Yeah.
I think Samantha's going to keep doing her thing.
I do think the fact that they're even asking if they are sluts is a little bit dated. I feel like the culture we live in, the slut
20 years ago or dated now?
Dated now.
Yeah.
Like, I mean,
this that would be never something that would be acceptable to even ask on a TV show. I'm guessing. No. Like especially using that word. Like,
I think it would be asked in a different way, which is like, I feel like literally this conversation totally, it seems dated in a way that it's like, yeah, I feel like we've lived that conversation for 20 years now.
Right.
Like in a way that I don't know, maybe at the time they're like, no, everyone talked about that. But it seems like so obvious now, the disparity between like shaming of like dudes and how many partners they traditionally have, or like, but it doesn't it is interesting to think about like people's numbers and be like, what would the number at this point be like? All right, you need to chill out. Because like 30 or 40, it's like, all right, liberated woman. But what if like Steve was like 12,000 people?
What's up, Will Chamberlain?
Yeah.
I mean, yeah, that's what I think you think about, like Wilt Chamberlain. How many? What was his? Like
10,000, and that's just too many.
But that's like when you think about Malcolm Gladwell, the 10,000 hours.
He's
like Wilt Chamberlain had.
He is an expert.
He was an expert. He was an expert at sleeping with women.
You're assuming that it takes him an hour to have sex with someone.
That's a good point. I am.
I feel like on
I guess he wasn't an expert.
I feel like on your 9,000th woman, it would. I don't know, maybe more exciting or a little more like, man.
Law of diminishing utility would suggest that it'd be less exciting.
That's true.
What's the law of diminishing utility?
The more you have something, the less utility, the less like happiness or joy it brings you.
I feel like joy.
Is that also?
I feel like joy and coming are different things, though. I'm sure, like maybe Wilt Chamberlain, sort of like, I've never felt true love, but I know how to come in these different people every night of my life. I feel like that's a pretty traditional. That's what this entire show is about, actually.
Sex and the City.
What's about sex and relationships? And Wilt Chamberlain's show went on 6 seasons, but they never switched it up. They never changed up the character. It was just him having sex with a different woman for an hour every.
There wasn't
week.
Much of a story arc there. There really wasn't. I look at Aidan, and I think John Corbett is a great actor. I think he's got a lot of swagger. I feel like they found a different arc with Aidan and Carrie, and I can't tell.
You don't like it?
I don't know if I do or not. It's different than Big. Big is like a cartoon, but Aidan, there's something where he's like, I don't know. Does anyone does this resonate? I like him. I like
Carrie with him too.
I do too.
She's a little less neurotic. I mean,
that's true. She's a lot less neurotic.
Like with Big, she was always chasing something that she could never like get, and it was exhausting to see her kind of frantic like that at all times.
Okay,
with Aidan so far.
What do you?
Did you just rub your beard on the microphone?
I didn't mean to. I got up close.
Okay. With
ASMR.
Are we doing a? Hey, real quick for 30 seconds. Let's do a Bradshaw Boys ASMR episode. Welcome to the Bradshaw Boys. I'm Cory Cavin.
I'm Kevin, and I guess my thoughts about Aidan are this. I think he's bringing a different element to the show.
Kevin, tell us what your beard is like.
My beard is very tactile, and it's very. How is ASMR not sexual?
That's the weird thing. It's not sexual. Is that way? Do your John again? John.
What if Jess Schwartz was just embarrassed? She's like, yeah, I love ASMR. Is it sexual? No, not at all. And then we find out we're like, yeah, definitely is.
Totally.
But I don't know. It seems, I guess
it's not. That's the weird thing.
Element.
It's not.
Okay. It's going what you're saying.
Moving
about
away
Aidan.
from that weird ASMR thing we just did. Back to the.
All right, John, go.
No, we're moving away.
Well, the Aidan thing is just you have to bring a new flavor into the show, and imagine how difficult that casting is. That it's like literally we're in this zeitgeisty type show, and you have to knowingly be like, all right, we have to introduce a character that you're going to see him in one episode, and then you same with Steve that it's like you have to bring someone that people are. It's got to be written to be like, who is that?
Yeah.
And so many people have to like him. So I wonder if sometimes the first few episodes, if it's the spice is on a little too much because they're like, we got to make sure that this guy checks all the boxes. Because I could see that maybe a few like glances and stuff that you're like, all right, chill out.
Yeah, but the show's called Sex in the City, and he's not having sex with her. So that's, I mean, at least for the first 2 episodes. So that's missing a big box that people probably want to check.
That's true. But I do feel like, to your
The longer
point,
you wait, though, the more he knows the law of diminishing utility.
True. No, but I think the way that you said, you bring this person in, and it's like when we had Jim Miller on the podcast, and he talked about you have this like a booster rocket, I think he said, where it goes up and then it splits off, and then it like adds another thing. I do feel like that's what I'm saying. I feel like we're in a different era of SATC now, where you're like,
remember
who's
the
this
first
guy?
when people are like, even like first episode, like wait till you get to season 3.
Yeah,
Like so many people said that, and we're in that now.
we're there.
Also, isn't it crazy that Aidan line that got cut, that he shuts the door at the end, and she's like, "Are we going to do this?" He said, "I got a dog sitter. I'm ready to diminish this utility," and then they just go at it. And you have to know the law, like the physics law, in order to really
Economic.
Here's
economic law.
Here's a sidebar.
It's economics.
Is it the same thing as the law of diminishing returns? I've never heard it called the law of diminishing utility.
Let me look it up.
Look it up.
Diminishing returns is what you get back. Utility is how useful something is to you. So returns and utility are different.
Okay, I'm just saying I've only
Yeah.
heard diminishing returns before, but I guess they're not the same thing. So okay,
Utility is an economic term used to represent satisfaction or happiness.
okay.
Wow. You know what? That's okay. Let's go with this a little, because that actually it is interesting to see the different relationships that are in that mean something, because they really did explore, like, we wouldn't appreciate Aidan or Steve as much for what they were if we weren't a little bit exhausted with being like whoever Charlotte finds out, hopefully we like them, because it's like it's we're learning to be like, we need something important,
Right.
because there's all this stuff that it's like, this is just, you're just wasting our time on TV with these randos, like it's not that funny anymore. So it's
Is
literally
that because she really wants that, so we really want it? Because I don't feel the same way about Samantha. Like I really want Charlotte to have a serious boyfriend,
Yeah.
but Samantha goes through the same follies that Charlotte always does. She ends up in this shitty situation, or the guy does something
But
weird.
maybe it lasts longer, but
I'm not like necessarily jonesing for Samantha to have.
You're not
a
jonesing
serious-
for Samantha Jones to have a
Whoa.
serious relationship.
Oh,
Well, I
good
think
Charlotte.
But I think good Charlotte moment. It was a long day. So I think, but what it is that goes towards their true characters. Like
Right.
you don't really want that for Samantha, because like it's never
Samantha
as
doesn't want
tragic
that.
for her. She didn't want that. I think what's happening. I was on the subway
I
today.
can see what's happening.
I can see what's happening. Is that from a musical?
It's from Lion King.
Oh, I've only seen that movie once, and
Shame on you.
It was a year and a half ago for the first time ever.
Emote Kazi.
What?
I mean,
That's
shame. And-
That's Armenian for shame.
Oh.
Yeah, that's what my aunt
all
used to say to me.
right. Keep going with what you're saying.
Okay, here's what I'm saying. I was on the subway today because I live in New York City and I'm a proud New Yorker and I take the subway. And someone was watching The Office on their phone, and they were watching The Office, the wedding episode when Phyllis gets married. And I was reading the subtitles on their phone because they had like the subtitles on, and I like started watching it, and it made me think like, man, I remember when I watched the final Office episode. I had like friends over, we watched it, and I looked up, and the guy watching it on his phone was like smiling and laughing, and it made me remember like I really loved that show. And I remember when all those characters like kind of meant something to me. And I think what's happening now is you're to the point where you're like, I really know these characters and I want something good for Charlotte because I want the show to go. And you're starting to have empathy for the characters.
Right,
That's like the
right.
mark of a great television show.
Yeah.
Well, yes, totally true. And also, I would push back on what you're saying about Samantha, because you're just saying something about that Charlotte would like wants to get married, wants a steady thing. But if this show, if the entire thing happened and she never had even like a long-term fuck buddy or like a good friend I think that we would at some point desire to be like, oh, just to like have another human that's like a little more consistent in Samantha's life to follow along outside the girls, or else she's missing something that that I don't know. I think that would be interesting to watch, to see a different shade of her.
I'll be really interested to see what it looks like when Samantha has a serious, because it'll be such uncharted territory.
Yeah,
like we
I
know
agree.
what it'll be like when Charlotte has one.
Yeah, yeah.
And so it'll be really interesting to see what they do if and when Samantha has. I think she has to, right? Did you guys know? I think she
Samantha has a Sirius.
Samantha has a
she,
serious.
She does have a
Okay.
Sirius. Yeah. She does subscribe to Sirius XM at some point. Yeah, she does.
Isn't it funny too that if someone if you're watching the show on and someone explained what apps are and like the way dating culture has changed, they'd be like, oh my gosh, when that happens, the entire country is just gonna nonstop fuck. And then actually some like economic law went in and everyone's like, no, we don't anymore.
It's gone down.
It's gone down. You're like, why? It's like, that's just crazy.
That's
It is
just
crazy.
Yeah, it is.
Should we do a Steve talk?
Nah.
Yeah, let's do it.
Should we do a dangler talk?
A dangler
Yeah.
talk.
All right.
Shout out
Steve was he wasn't dangling as much this time as he was last time. He was dangling hardcore in the last
He was
episode.
dangling
He was out of the West Fourth ball courts
dangling.
with those friggin' baggy basketball shorts on, dangling hardcore.
And this he was actually dangling harder than ever. It was just off screen when he literally
true.
just had his doctor.
And that brings us to Steve Talk. Here we go.
It's a favorite time. It's a favorite guy. It's Steve Talk.
Miranda.
All right. In this episode of Steve Talk, Steve is going to go visit a Cajun palm reader who is going to comfort him for the amount of women that he's slept with.
Okay. I believe.
Corin, or Kevin, you'll play the Cajun palm reader.
Okay, here we go. So I've never been to Louisiana before, but the thing I'm more concerned about is I've slept with like 60 plus, and like I didn't even tell Miranda, but it's over 200.
Well, I gotta tell you right here. Let me see that palm, cause you seem like you got a good relationship.
Okay, yeah, it's a little calloused because I spent so much time dribbling the ball.
Oh, I'm gonna call you clam boy. You got them clammy palm.
Oh, okay, sorry.
Oh man, I
want
want to throw this on the grill. Hear that there?
Oh, are you grilling my hands?
All right,
that hurts.
hold on. Here's your longest.
That's my love line.
Oh, that's your love line right there. And you know what it said?
What does it say?
It said you ain't got chlamydia. But guess what?
It's a favorite
You got HIV, boy.
It's a favorite guy.
I gotta get out of New Orleans.
It's Steve Talk.
Miranda.
Thank you.
Wow, what happened in
That's
that
sad.
Steve talk?
Man, if you're ever down in New Orleans, you got to watch out. Also, last time Alanis Morissette killed herself, or Steve killed himself in one of the Steve
He
talks.
did blow his head off in a
Yeah,
Steve talk.
it gets
Yeah.
dark in
Dark.
Steve Talk.
The reason
Things get real in Steve Talk
the reason why that popped in my head is because I wondered two things.
because you're sick.
No. I wondered if Steve was going to give his number and it was going to be like 3, and then it was going to be like
That's what I
bombshell,
thought.
like holy shit.
I thought it'd be a low number.
Yeah. And then also I wondered if he was going to come back and have some like serious STD that was, well, I don't know. What's the most serious you could get and still be comical? Herpes?
Chlamydia.
I think chlamydia might
I think
be.
chlamydia
the,
But
was the
she
best
said that,
STD.
so I didn't know if he
So
was going to
there's
be like,
another one?
I didn't have chlamydia, but syphilis.
Chlamydia too.
Chlamydia too, yeah.
Yeah.
Is
that a thing?
Chlamydia. I think it's called double chlamydia.
I got double chlamydia.
But I thought for sure he had an STD.
I like
was
the clap because
I
I
think
don't know
if you
what
said
that.
the
I don't know
clap.
what the clap
The
is.
clap
The clap
is
is
chlamydia.
chlamydia.
Clap
Oh.
is chlamydia.
Yeah.
There you go. Clap
Yeah,
it up.
chlamydia.
Clap
That's the
on, clap
that's the
off.
funniest one.
Chlamydia. Yeah, I think that's the funniest one.
Well, they did crabs earlier in this episode or series too.
I think that's a funnier one.
Yeah, because Charlotte got crabs, right?
Yeah, the crabs is funny because it's literally it's like a little rat. It's like a little fucking rabbit. Yeah, it's just
a rabbit.
yeah, it's around there and like eating your carrot.
Oh my god.
Oh my lord.
That was the most Kevin. That was the most Kevin sentence followed by Kevin laugh I've ever heard.
Oh, just down there eating.
I think it's because I just saw the movie The Favorite. There's a bunch of rabbits in that.
Wait, really?
Yeah, go see it.
haven't
It's a good
seen it.
movie.
Have we given everyone enough attention? I feel like we should be talking about Aidan a little bit.
We need to talk
more.
about Aidan and Carrie. So we've talked a good bit about. Okay, so Steve and Miranda, we pretty much wrapped it up. It
Yeah,
was
he's,
the number
he's
thing.
dangling at the doctor's
He's
office.
dangling the doctor's. Oh yeah, he got the inside of his wing wong swabbed out by a
Can't
doctor.
He can't even wax his ears anymore.
Yeah, because
Poor guy.
because that guy had to stick a Q-tip up his D-tip, and then but yeah, it was like he's not a slut even though he's slept with more. Charlotte, we covered, right?
Yeah.
I will say that montage of Samantha with all the dudes she's hooked up with in the elevator was fun. It was fun.
super
And she had on a fantastic black and red dress.
Yeah.
I don't know who did that dress, but great. Okay. Carrie and Aidan.
I do like the guy that she was standing in front of, just right through the crotch hole.
Right through the crotch of his pants. Just
speaking
working out some knots.
Speaking of, you were talking about Howard Stern earlier, and this has to do with that show, which is when I was a kid, there was a Howard Stern.
Robin, get out the butt bongos. Is Baba Booey out here?
Baba Booey.
So there was a guy that called in. He's like, I don't know, because this is what I'm wondering with what happened with Samantha, if that was a guy she brought home or if she was seducing a guy. But this guy called in and said that he was just on a Greyhound bus and there was a really attractive girl next to him, and she just put a blanket, she like put her hands down his pants and never spoke to him, and then gave him a hand job, and then he was like stunned the entire time and tried to like pull her hand out, and then she wouldn't, finished, and that was the whole thing.
And that was Nancy Pelosi. Speaker of the House.
Yeah, but he told that, I was always like, that's insane. But Samantha, and I think the guy was totally okay with it. So I was wondering, what, if you guys thought that Samantha knew that guy was bringing him home, or was like got in the elevator and just like went after some dude who she like knows from the building or something.
I think she just went for it.
You think?
Yeah,
You think she went for it?
He was like there.
Because he was
like
behind her. Yeah.
He was like someone's son, like one of those old ladies' sons, and she saw what she wanted and she just went for it.
Oh my gosh. That was
a great question.
Okay, here's a question. Samantha Jones comes on to you and you do not realistic, but let's say you do an Uber pool. You end up with Samantha Jones in your Uber pool.
Yeah.
She comes on to you. What do you do?
Is she first stop or second stop?
But you have to look on the app. It says dropping off Samantha, or like stop has been added. What if it says stop has been added? We're now picking up. We're now picking up.
If you have to flirt,
we're now picking up the girl from Balzac.
If you have to flirt, here's like this is just the ice cold nature of the world. If you have to flirt in front of other human beings, like when it's just like one-on-one, but all of a sudden if there's another human being there and you have to flirt with someone else in there, that's risky business. So I think what you got to do is, if she's coming on to you before the next person gets in, you just say, hey, are you going, like if they're, if it's their house or a bar, probably based on the location. If it's like, hey, before this person gets in and ruins vibe, should we get out and just like get a drink at the next stop? Her be like,
that's a good move.
And you do it before the other person gets in, because you'll lose your mojo.
That's true.
Because the other person will also make you look bad by they could sidetrack the conversation. You got to do it before in the secret, and then it's like, ooh, we're a little special secret.
Yeah.
So that's what I would do.
That's a good move. I would say, let's get off and get a drink. It looks like you're going to the meatpacking district. I'll go to this bar you're going to. And they get out and she goes, honey, I live here. And
but if she jerked me off in the Uber pool, and then all of a sudden, like, I'd be like, I'm skip the drink.
Jeez. So I'm getting the vibe that just by nature of our excitement to talk about him, that we're still, verdict on Aidan is still unclear. We're not super jazzed about him right now.
We're not super jazzed, but you know what? I'm here
like
for
we know we should be, because we find out he's in one of the movies, so he's like he's a series fixture. But
we can't offer the same amount of enthusiasm that people have, because they've read the book,
and he's not coming in hot, dropping like abso-fucking-lutely's the first time you see him like Big was.
He's holding back. He's not going in.
I think that represents the love that we're giving him right now. I think we're going to end up really liking Aidan.
Yeah. I got to say,
he's not coming in as hot as I thought he would.
And he's not, you're right. And I like that he has these principles where he's like, hey, it's just my deal, but I'm not going to date a smoker, but he holds to that. And then he's like, hey, I'm going to hold back a little bit. Like, and she's like, are we just friends? And he's like, do I kiss my friends like that? So he's still got that out there.
Yeah, he's got a little Aidan sauce.
I know.
I like that.
The second that Catherine Zeta-Jones walks by, he's out. He's out.
He did say that she was very pretty.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He was right. She's an attractive woman.
Then Michael Douglas is just like, get the fuck off my girlfriend.
That's right.
That's my wife.
I was in the Kaminsky method.
You guys watch that show?
Do you know Michael Douglas said that he got throat cancer because he gave so many girls cunnilingus?
Yeah, he did.
Because you can get HPV in your throat.
Mhm.
The STD episode.
Yep, it's true.
And that's what Michael Douglas attributed it to.
Yeah.
That's like the most aggressive humble brag I've ever heard in my life. You know, I got this not from the years of dipping or the cigars I smoke. It's from eating girls out.
He's like, that is so funny.
That sounds like a dude that would hang out at a barbecue with Hank, and then Hank
Yeah.
would call him out.
Such a
It's just
humble
like,
brag.
what is a way for someone to confess that they have a horrific cancer and still by the end of the sentence me roll my eyes?
Yeah.
It's like, yeah, I think it's from all the cunnilingus I get girls. It's like, wow,
Oh,
Michael
look at
always
this
fucking
fucking
doing
dude.
that.
Come on, dude.
Shut
Good
up.
Lord, man.
We get it. You were in A Perfect Murder. It was a really good movie in the 90s.
All right, Cosmo rating. You guys want to do a simultaneous Cosmo rating?
Yeah, whatever that is.
It's where we say, also, we've done it
We say it at the
so
same
many
time.
times.
4, 3. I don't know what mine is.
5, 4, 3, 2, 1. 3.5.
5.
Fuck you, Corey.
What?
We could have been perfectly synergized.
If you
Well,
just
you
said,
know what? I'm an individual. Go chew your gum somewhere else.
all right, so why did you go 3.75?
Because I like Aidan. There, I said it.
Oh.
That's why I went 3.75, because I said, you know what? It's like I said earlier. Yeah. Okay. The episode before this one, episode 5, where we
Was-
met Aidan,
was
was
insane.
it was a knock it out of the park episode. This one felt a little more straight pitch down, a pitch straight down the middle. That's what I'm trying to say. But I think that we've gone into another gear. I think we're in another gear of this show. And I was like, yeah, you know what? A normal gear of the show in my earlier ratings would have been a 3.5 or a 3.25.
All
I'm
right,
willing to go
that's
up
fair.
another quarter Cosmo and take another little sip of that vodka.
That's fair.
So that's where I'm at.
Kev?
I would say I said 3.5 because just the buzz of giving that 5.0 Cosmo last episode. A 3.5 is good. If you look at my ratings, like that's
Yeah,
good. Maybe I even brought it down too far, but
That's 7 out of 10. That's pretty good.
yeah. So I thought it was really great. I find it actually, not even joking, like very interesting, our trepidation on Aidan, because I feel like if we didn't know anything, if we were watching it, we would love this dude, and it's just from
Totally.
the warning. So I think he's a well written character. I think
So good.
sometimes the sauce on him is like little, like clearly they're like forcing us to fall for him, which maybe we just see that, but I'm fine with that. I thought this was like I said at the beginning, I said, yeah, they're sluts. I was totally like joking about that just because that is such a, like, now that's the answer to that is like, no, but I think this may have laid the groundwork for that. I bet there's got to be a Friends episode that has like the number, like people's numbers talking about that. I feel like that's such a
Dude,
good.
you should see every TV show where they bring up their
number?
numbers. and
Yes.
see- I wonder. So there has to be a blog. Space,
Yeah,
like,
I
post
think
about that
I
somewhere.
just think that would be interesting because when I found out people were having like less sex, and I wonder if you're just like if you were just like having a normal amount of sex with a normal amount of partners, and that happened to be like 10, and then you see some of these girls, you're like, man, I gotta ratchet it up.
Man, the episode of True Detective where they talk about their numbers.
Yeah.
Tom's a flat circle, and I'm 51.
So yeah, I really liked it, and I actually thought the way that they dealt with the STs was like, at first I was like, is this just going to be an educational episode that's like, but Miranda is actually the perfect character
Mm-hmm.
to do exactly what I'm going to do. I'm going to call every partner, and so I actually liked that because that fit her character to
Yeah,
do like
it did.
the textbook thing.
And I like that when she said to that guy, he was like, why you call me? And she was like, well, now I remember why I didn't want, or he's like,
Yeah.
you said never call. She's like, no, I remember why. And then
Yeah.
hung up on him. That was great.
It was great.
So I did a quick Google search of
Okay.
TV characters with the highest sex partners.
Oh.
Would you guys like to hear the top 5?
Actually give us let's all take
See
a
if you
guess.
can guess
Let's
at number
guess
one.
person. I'd say Barney from How I Met Your Mother.
What's your guess?
I would say Barney from PBS shows Barney.
Yep.
It is Barney from PBS. It's the dinosaur.
There we go. The pink.
I love you, you love me. Was
Oh, that's what it was.
no
That's
Barney
what-
Stinson. How I Met Your Mother. Number 2.
Number 2.
Matt LeBlanc from Friends.
No, I would say Webster from Webster.
Woman. Older woman.
Golden Girls.
Blanche.
Devereaux.
Blanche
Yes.
from Golden Girls.
Devereaux?
Yes. Oh, dude.
Charlie Runkle from Californication is 4.
Mm.
Jerry Seinfeld from Seinfeld.
Really?
Is 4, and then Samantha Jones.
Is this even a
5.
vagina?
What is this?
I'll tell you what. First, you look at it, you're like, is that a flower? And
And
you
then
get closer.
Joey Tribbiani's right down there.
There's a-
so interesting.
And why do they call it the pistol? There's a pistol in a flower. I think a man is like.
Is that
Okay,
a real Seinfeld bit?
I give mine a 3.5. I really like the episode. I love all the different character stories. I didn't love the fact that there was no chat. Like there wasn't a memorable chat and chow.
Yeah.
There was the one where like Charlotte was like couldn't say at the very beginning where she couldn't say that she was being called a whore and a bitch.
Yeah.
And I'll be honest, I don't love Aidan as much as I thought I would at this point. Let that sink in.
A hush comes over the room.
I thought I was going to be super jazzed about Aidan right out of the get-go.
It'd be weird though if you were, because you're so obsessed with Steve. Why would you
Yeah, you're
give
a Steve
that?
guy.
Why would you,
I do love Steve.
how could you get so excited about another person?
I'm willing to
Do
be.
you think it's like Aiden's the Mets and Steve's the Yankees? And no, sorry. Aiden's the Yankees and Steve's the Mets, and you're
Could
a Mets
be.
guy. That's what I feel. That's what it feels like.
Anyway, 3.5. Great episode. It was
Yeah,
fun.
good
Would
app.
watch. I'd watch that one again for sure.
I would watch that one again. I feel like I said, I think we're in another echelon of the show, and it feels like. Go ahead.
I think if you guys please get on iTunes, give us a rating.
Yes, please do that.
We didn't ask for that for a while, but now people are telling us that really helps the pod. We would love that. That would help us so much, and we can get better guests, and we can do more stuff. And also, please write in, and we'll read any of your texts or your messages or your voicemails.
We would love for you to do this. Go on your phone right now. Go to voice memos, record a voice memo, and then hit the share button and just share that to our email, the Bradshaw Boys NYC@gmail.com.
And
we'll play it on the show.
Play it on the show.
That's right.
All right. That was all I wanted to say.
Corey, take us away.
All right, here we go. You know what? We're in another thing, and I'd say that it's this show. This show might have started out as, a couple girls in New York, but now it feels like they're just living these brand new lifestyles. We're always complaining. We're complaining. And that's a good Charlotte moment right there.
The Bradshaw Boys stars Cory Cavin, Jon Sieber, and Kevin James Doyle. The show is produced by Jeremy L. Balon. For more information on the guys, check out their website at bradshawboys.com, on social media at The Bradshaw Boys, and if you see them in the street, tip your glass. Thanks for listening.